see like a red light?
Yeah, it's
beeping.
It has low battery also. It does. I'm shitting you. That shit, dude.
All right, guys. Yo, what's up, guys? My name is Brian. Yeah! Welcome to our first, we're gonna start, basically what I want to talk about is what's going on with the Inner Circle in Houston, where it's going, and then I'm gonna talk about my speech, about my adventures, basically my life, how I got into game, how game has helped, and how it can help you. And then I'm gonna talk about, we're gonna do some exercises at the end that go through sticking points. We're not gonna make you do anything crazy, we're not gonna make you do like backflips or anything.
Damn it.
It's really there just to help you get through things that are fucking up a lot of guys in the clubs or in day game or online or whatever it is. So where the Inner Circle is going, basically what I want to do is that I want to get Houston known for really cool guys. What I want to do is that I want to start setting up meetings twice a month. If you guys could show up, I'm probably going to do one on Friday, one on Saturday, just if people have different schedules. They're all going to be basically like mini hot seats and mini free tours. They're all going to be recorded. They're all going to be posted online so that people can know that we're serious about becoming better versions of ourselves. That this is our passion. This is what we love to do. And so I'm really excited about that. With like the help of Victor as well, we can get this really amazing. Because I'll start off by saying where I've been. 4 months ago, I decided to quit college and quit my job and just throw everything away and start traveling the world, because that was the fire that was in me. And so what had happened was that at the beginning, what I wanted to do was I basically wanted to stress myself out as much as I could. So the first city I arrived to was London. I had no idea where I was staying. I didn't know anybody there. I knew the language, but I mean, that doesn't really help when you don't know the place. So I remember walking and it's 2 in the morning and I still don't know where I'm sleeping. I'm carrying a camera and a $2,000 MacBook with me in the London streets where you're known for getting robbed. And actually, the minute I think that, I walk the corner and I see this couple getting robbed. And I'm like, what the fuck am I doing? I'm halfway across the world and I'm like scared, like I'm like trembling. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know where I'm staying. I don't know anybody. It's so scary. Because that goes straight to survival. That goes straight to your like amygdala or whatever it's called. And I go and I get a hostel and everything gets taken care of. But the thing is that I started off with the most difficult thing I could ever do, because I knew the rest was going to be the easiest thing in my fucking life. You know? It's more of like a stoic philosophy. If you're into this, check out like Seneca. You could read his letters to a stoic. But what starts to happen is that you start listening to the signals of the universe. You can call it many things. You could call it listening to your heart. You can listening to glowing with the flow. You could call it having omens. Another good book about this would be The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. Amazing book just about following your heart and following your gut. And it's interesting because if you do this enough, you'll get to a point where you have to make no decisions, but no decision will be left unmade. You will have to make no decisions, and no decision will be left unmade. That's very Taoist philosophy, where you just go and it gets to a point where it gets so strong that you just have to just live life, and everything is answered for you. I'll talk about how this relates to game. Basically what happens is, let's start off like this. You go up to a club and you want to talk to girls. Like, that's the whole point of this. That's kind of why we're here. And the first thing we do is we try to avoid the situation. We try to avoid what's going on, right? When I got into London, I can't avoid survival, right? So that's kind of what you have to do, is that you have to pretty much go into the hardest situation and figure out how to solve that, because then everything else will just be fun. You know, once you've gone through the hardest of stresses, and once you know that you can survive it, that's what builds core confidence. You know, not situational confidence, core confidence. You can go into any environment and you know that you will get out of that, you know? And then how it relates to listening to yourself it's because what happens is that you start switching from a second-hand experience to first-hand experience. You start teaching yourself. You're not looking for people. Like, I know we have amazing instructors like Tyler, Jeffy, Max, Ozzy, all these people. But what happens when you start listening to yourself is that you start getting you start getting deeper reference experiences. Like, the lessons you learn out here in the world start to impact you more than what other people tell you is the truth. Like, you think about it, how did these instructors get to become this stuff when there was nobody to teach them? You know, when there wasn't Mystery, who was telling Mystery how to game? Yeah, Tyler learned from Mystery, but there was a point that Mystery couldn't teach him how to be a natural. And then how did Max learn? Max had his own thing. Like, it comes to a point where you have to listen to your gut, because the world will squeeze you in a different way. I like to think of people as like oranges. You know, like we're like these oranges, and we're cut in half, and you have us, and then you're going to be put in situations where you're going to be squeezed. The beautiful thing about game is that you can have the awareness to taste yourself. Awareness, right? And you can be like, fuck, this orange is acidic. You know? I don't want to eat this shit. Just throw it away. I mean, it's good that we can be aware of these things and that we can put ourselves in situations, controlled situations, where we can squeeze it and be able to do something about it, you know? Like, we can go out into the world and be like, well, I don't like the way I'm behaving here. I don't like the way I'm dealing with situations here. I can take responsibility about my life and fix it. And that's kind of one of the most important things, is because when you can teach yourself anything, you can learn anything, and you can become anything. And that's kind of like why I'm so passionate now about teaching this, or sharing the things that I've learned and the things that are possible. Because when I was in Europe, I met with the top leaders, inner circles, like the ones in Berlin and Oslo and Milan. I met those guys, and I've seen what those inner circles can do to guys, and I've seen how guys could just transform over a week. And I'm even meeting people here, and last time I met them, they were a totally different person, because I know that they've been out there, and I know that they've been interacting with the inner circle and meeting people and meeting women. It's amazingly fascinating, just the transformation of people. I can just tell, like, they're becoming cool, amazing guys right in front of my eyes. And that's why I love game, and that's why I love the inner circle and you guys and all this stuff. And so going back to these stories, I want to talk about going into the unknown, full in trust, and like all these things merge into each other. So when you go into a new city, I went to maybe 15 countries in Europe, and I traveled all around Colombia and South America. And every time you go into a new country, you don't know what you're going to expect. You don't know the language. And I, of course, didn't set up places where I'm sleeping or any of this stuff. So you start to get used to being uncomfortable, and you start getting used to going into places you're generally not accepted, because like, this isn't your town, this isn't your turf. And so what happens is that you start to be able to go into the unknown comfortable. Like, that's what makes you comfortable. And I feel like that's very strong in game, is because you're going into a new set and you don't know how that set's going to turn out, but you know what you will and you won't accept from yourself in that set, which is one of the most powerful things. Like, you know you're not going to be a little bitch. You know you're going to man up and you're going to like square up to her, and you're going to express yourself and your personality, no matter how vulnerable that makes you feel or how stupid it makes you look. Because when you go to a new country, it's like you have to trust that you know that whatever's going to happen, you're going to find a place to sleep. You're going to have to find a place to eat. You're going to go out there, you're going to be social, and you're going to talk to people, and you're going to pick up girls that don't even speak English. So it's like, how does that sound? Like, imagine being able to game someone that doesn't speak. So what happens is that you start working on sub-communications. You start talking with your eyes and your body, and you realize that that's how everybody communicates. Like, language, it's just another thing that people use, but that doesn't really mean anything, because it's only really 5% of the things that we say. Like, even though I'm talking now, at least something might resonate with you, and if it doesn't, either way, it's all about the energy that's between us. and what you get out of it, because you're going to get something different than he will, or he'll get something different out of he will. But being able to go into a new set fully trusting in yourself, what that also helps is that it helps momentum. Because even if you talk to a girl and she completely blows you out, she's like, go away, fuckhead. You're gonna be like, oh, okay, cool. And you reframe that and you go into the next set, because you know it's like, oh, okay, poor girl, she doesn't know me yet, or I understand the club situations, or I understand that. And out of these things is basically that's what we're gonna do with these exercises later. We're gonna do exercises in a few minutes that are gonna deal with these sticking points that make most guys stifle. Because I think that's kind of the biggest problem any guy could have, is basically getting in your head and not knowing what to do, because you're not confident. So what I want to do with these exercises that are going to come up is that I want to be able to start building a self-confidence in you, so that no matter what happens, you know you're going to be okay. No matter what she throws at you or whatever life throws at you, you know you're going to be okay. Like, that's the whole point of, that's like for me, like huge. That's major key. Hashtag DJ Khaled. And so basically what we're going to do is that we're going to do 3 exercises that hit on 3 major sticking points. Like I said, no matter what happens, you'll be able to do it. If you don't know how to approach anxiety is not possible. It doesn't even exist, because you know, no matter what she does, you can overcome it. She's quiet, you can overcome it. She gives you shit, you can overcome it. She has a boyfriend, you can overcome it. There's so much abundance that comes out of this, and all these things are so intertwined that it can make you an amazingly cool guy. And so, yeah, that's the end of the speech, and we're gonna start doing group exercises.
Hell yeah!
So, the first exercise, we're gonna start off simple. The first exercise is called Yes and. I'm sure you guys have heard of this before. It's an improv comedy technique, and it's basically about non-judgment and not being too logical. A lot of guys, I notice a lot of game and talking to girls, you can get a very far way. You can get very deep with girls if you're just not judgmental about the things that come out of their mouth. They feel comfortable talking to you and expressing themselves to you, and that's something you want because you love women and you want to know more about them. So you do that by being non-judgmental. And I noticed for me what helps out amazing, and for other guys as well, is if you're the type to judge, or maybe you're just not creative and you don't know what to say, is that whatever she says, you say, oh, yeah, and this, and you just add on top of it. So for example, just off the top of my head, she's like, oh, I'm a chemical engineer. And you'd be like, oh yeah, and so does that mean you're a drug dealer? And just go along with it, adding positivity is basically what the point of this exercise is going to be. This is the easiest exercise, and this is where we're going to start off. So if you guys want to get into pairs of 2s,
Go through the other 2 exercises and then we'll just shut off the camera and do that.
okay. Next exercise is basically what happens when you don't know what to say. For whatever reason, you get into your head and you don't know what to say, or she just says something outlandish and you're just like, what do I say to that? How do I respond to this? This exercise is going to be for you. Also, what this exercise can help with is if you know and if you're aware enough to realize that you're constantly looking for validation. If you know that you say things and you wait for responses, you're looking for validation. If you say something because you heard some cool guy say it, or because if you say something that a dick would say because you know dicks get girls or assholes get girls, you're looking for validation. If you're not being yourself, you're looking for validation. And this exercise is called talking to a wall. We don't have any walls here, and I don't want you to look like a crazy psychopath. So what we're gonna do is that you're gonna be in groups of 2s, and one person is gonna be completely emotionless, right? And the other person is gonna talk. You're gonna talk for maybe 3 minutes about anything, and you just have to talk to this emotionless face. Because guess what? You don't really see walls at clubs. You see emotionless faces of girls giving hot girls blasé. That's the reality of this. So that's why I think this is a little bit more powerful. That's the second exercise. The third exercise has mainly to do with shit test. A shit test as you guys know, is when a girl tests to see if you're really cool. She could be like, oh, like maybe you have an insecurity. She's trying to see if you're okay with yourself. She could be like, I don't like guys with glasses, something stupid, and that might get you in your head. And all this, like, even if you had a strong approach and you seem like a cool guy, and this gets you in your head, this is how she filters out who's a cool guy and who's not. A girl can't just fuck anybody. She wants to fuck a cool guy, plain and simple. Like, she wants it to be fun, and she doesn't want to settle. Girls settle, but I mean, if they're really hot, they don't have to. That's the thing. So, what this exercise is a reframing exercise. I think I made this up. I've never heard about it anywhere else. But it's also in groups of 2. And what happens is that partner A is going to be giving compliments, and partner B is going to be throwing out hard shit tests. And the reason they're going to be hard is because person A is going to tell them their insecurities. You're going to be like, what's your insecurity? I'm going to be like, oh, I feel like I'm not man enough because my father was never there and whatever, blah, blah, blah. So then, what person B is going to be like, you're going to be like, all right, sorry. Person A is going to be like, oh, I like your shirt. Person B is going to reply with a hard shit test. And he's going to say, yeah.
I can't afford this shirt.
Yeah, you probably can't afford the shirt, or it wouldn't look good on you because you're too skinny, or you're too fat, or whatever. You gotta be creative about these things. And person A has to reply with a positive reframe. So for example, if he says, that's an ugly shirt, a positive reframe could be like, yeah, it makes me more obtainable, you know? So here's the thing, we're in groups of 2. So if you're better at one of these than your partner is, just help them out. Like, this is a brotherhood, and we're here to help each other out. And if you see that someone's struggling, trying to think of something creative, you could always help them out. Like, it doesn't have to be perfect. This is only the first time we're doing this. As time goes on, we're gonna get better and better, and we're just looking at over time that we just get 1% better, 1% better. Because before you even know it, dude, you're gonna be fucking Playboy models over in LA, you'd be like, how the fuck did I get here? You know? So let's get started.
Yeah.